profile points, and then I'll open the phone lines. How about that? We'll do that. So what exactly is the missing 411 phenomenon, at least when it comes to the actual profile points? Well, when a person goes missing, they obviously try to send out search and rescue, and they'll send out some dogs. And 99% of the time that they send out dogs either can't find a scent or they're not interested in chasing down that scent. They kind of will either hit a wall or hypothetically a wall or a lake and just not able to follow the scent. They'll mill around in a circle, just seem in general disinterested. Also, after the disappearance and during the rescue and search, bad weather seems to appear out of nowhere, whether that's fog or blizzard, torrential rain, whatever it is. This weather certainly impedes the search and rescue effort. Another profile point is victims are found in an area previously searched. And this is one of the more puzzling ones. So if you have a group of researchers searching a couple square mile radius, they will find the body within that search zone already, causing even more confusion. Obviously, placing blame on some searchers, like, I thought you looked in that area. It's very troubling at that point. Also, missing clothing or shoes of the victims. Sometimes these people are found, I say a good many of the times, these people are found without shoes and or clothing. There are instances where a toddler has gone missing for a year, and then a year later, their clothing turns up, perhaps neatly folded on a log.
Yeah, that's the craziest thing, man. When it comes up all neatly folded and just nice and perfect, like, what is that all about?
It's bizarre.
It is.
The typical time of disappearance of these people is the late afternoon or early morning. And there is a high percentage of people that when they do go missing and fit these other profile points, they're either have some sort of illness or disability. And also in some other books, David Paulides says that they lean either towards the, let's go ahead and say the autistic or mentally retarded spectrum, or above average intelligence. So I think we're all average intelligence here. I think we're okay. I don't know. Some of the YouTube comments might suggest we're below intelligence and maybe idiots. But that's not proved yet. That's.
You're a joke. You're a fraud. You're a failure. You're an idiot.
Okay. Thank you, Alex.
Alex.
Another profile point is that the missing are often found near creeks, rivers, ponds, lakes, and streams. Also, a good chunk of the time that the people go missing, it is near boulders and granite. Also, swamps and bogs are a profile point. And also, this is not necessarily a profile point, but it's something that David does mention in the books, that there's a high probability of you to go missing when you're part of a group, as opposed to if you're a lone hiker. If I read that correctly, he just kind of says this as an aside, that if you're a lone hiker, you might be a little bit more aware of your surroundings, your head's on a swivel, and you're more cautious of your surroundings, where if you're in a group, you can just kind of take your surroundings for granted, and you might be a little bit more clumsy, or just might not be as aware of your surroundings because you might be engaged in conversation or chit-chat and be worried about other people. Another profile point, and the last one that I have here, is equipment malfunctions, ranging from compasses to GPS, that search and rescue efforts have been impeded due to a compass not working correctly, and or GPS just simply not working. So we have electronic interference and magnetic interference as well. Now, that's just a brief rundown of what we have for the profile points. Now, James, you're here with us.
James.
Do I have you muted? I think you muted yourself.
I got it. Yeah, you're muted, James, and I can't unmute you. Oh, there you go.
Back. Sorry. Yeah, I just had every problem that you were just talking about. I had technical difficulties. Mm-hmm. I had equipment malfunction, and I needed to go in true missing 411 fashion and just get rid of my clothes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. No
Totally.
one asked you to do that, but you did that anyways.
Yeah, totally, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, this topic is mind-boggling, man.
It is, because these books are just filled with stories of people that seemingly will just go missing in broad daylight. Well, most likely early evening or late afternoon and early evening, and the loved ones cannot find them. Sometimes their body turns up, sometimes they don't, but it's unclear as to maybe how they were abducted or how they found their way miles and miles away. And it's just perplexing. And like I said earlier, is that the conspiracy and paranormal community, you can talk about this at length, and you can come up with almost any theory. Some theories might be more likely than others, and we'll touch on some of those. I don't know how much have you guys on your own podcast talked about missing 411 at all?
Not too much.
No.
I mean,
We
only
don't-
like if someone mentions like you guys or something, like a couple of our friends that hang out with us, it'll bring up, and then
Yeah, we've never had a guest on to actually discuss it officially, which we should probably.
The only a guest that I've had on that touched on it officially was Jack Carey. And he is a paranormal, Bigfoot, cryptozoological guy. And he's got his own site, paranormalintelligenceagency.com. And he came up with the theory of the Mach theory that the missing 411 occurrences correlate to certain disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle, and also large formations of rocks and boulders, and that these are possibly some sort of the Bermuda Triangle disappearances and anomalies are linked to missing 411 in a way. And I'll bring up that clip, and we can play that Mach.
That's interesting.
The Mach theory here in a little bit when we get into the actual meat and potatoes of the missing 411 theories that we're going to talk about tonight. And I'm going to preface this that we are in no way, shape, or form experts on this topic, and neither are you. The only expert on this topic possibly is David Paulides and maybe a few other researchers when it comes to disappearing people. We are just trying to have a fun and lively conversation about this dark and depressing topic as best we can. So if you have comments, leave them in the description, write in. But we're doing the best we can with this. And there's like 7 books. You can't memorize all these things. And somehow David Paulides can rattle off these cases off the top of his head. It's astounding if you see him speak. I have just a one case here from South Carolina, and this is close to a military base, and that might come into play later on. We talk about theories, but I'll read this just a few paragraphs. I'll glance at this.
Totally. I highly recommend it.
So this is the person who went missing. Missing is Tina Lucas. Went missing right around 11:30 a.m. in South Carolina. And David writes, readers regularly email us asking if there's any missing person cases that occur near military bases. I've written about a few over the years. This is another. Mrs. Olga Lucas was standing in her kitchen window watching her 4-year-old daughter Tina playing in the front yard with the family's dog, with the family's 3 dogs. On March 2nd, 1979, article in the Sumter Daily had a statement from Mrs. Lucas about how quickly the girl vanished. It wasn't even 2 seconds and she was gone. She was kind of child who wouldn't answer when you call her. Tina's mother said, imagine you look down from your kitchen window and look up 2 seconds later and the dog and your daughter are gone. How astounding. The family lived at 5424 Glen Street in Sumter, and the residences across from a creek and swamp and within 1/4 mile of Shaw Air Force Base. And Tina's mom and her brother immediately got into their car and started to drive the neighborhood looking for the girl and the dogs. They cruised for an hour and then called the local sheriff. The sheriff called for motorcycles and horses and volunteers to search the area. around the home. 4 hours of intensive search efforts proved futile. So within seconds, the mother could not find her daughter of 4 years old, who was 4 years old. How's you just look out the window, like there's kids playing across the street right now outside the window of Command Center Alpha 1 on the view the teleview screen that I have, and that if I look down and then for like a second look back up and they're gone, they're just vanished, and with the dog as well. How fast can a 4-year-old run? I would assume not very fast. Probably not faster than a mom can get outside the house and look around. And that's just one instance. There's instances of kids that are playing outside. They run around one side of the barn and they just vanish. They don't come out the other side. They just go into a portal, or they're teleported somewhere, but they're absolutely gone.
Has to be alternate dimensions. Like there's something where they're just slipping through somehow. It has to be.
So
mine is the white van child trafficking.
That's I mean, maybe some of the missing people could be attributed to child trafficking, but in the instance that I just read, the mother made no mention of hearing a car speed off or anything like that. Especially some of the stuff in the rural area where you would see if a car was coming up and down the road of your property, it would kick up dust and gravel. You'd be able to see some commotion. Maybe in the city, I don't know, but I'm not on board with this being a part of a group of people, a gang abducting people. I'm not on board with that.
It's too mysterious.
It seems like it would take too much coordinated effort, and someone would slip up and get away.
I mean, if it's that quick, like you're saying, there's no report of cars or anything like that.
Yeah. Fishy.
The phone lines are wide open, 614-388-9109, and I will we'll go over into some theories, and I'm just going to kind of yak a little bit. We'll have a conversation about some interesting things here, about some theories.
Nice.
Because there's plenty of other topics. What's that?
That as long as we could wildly speculate, that's all I'm looking for.
that's what we're looking to do, is speculate wildly and really pollute the waters here.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So this clip I have is about the missing 411 Mach Effect. I've played this before, but I think since we're talking about missing 411 theories, we will talk about this. And this is from a show by Regina Meredith. She has a show on the Gaia Network. And this is Jack Carey, the researcher I was talking about earlier. And this is the Mach theory.
Recently, the Can-Am Missing Project Group came out and publicly endorsed a theory that I had developed concerning the Mach Effect and the underlying topography of these different areas where cluster missing people have occurred.
Let's take a look at this cluster map.
Right.
And what has been the unique discovery out of this, now that you can see it in graphic detail?
Well, that we can see it in graphic detail. You can lay a map of those areas, overlay it with a map of topography of the underlying rock strata, and see that all of those areas have huge quartz rock crystal deposits. Recently, David Paulides, who brought attention to the 411 cases, was on a radio program where he said he discovered that on the same date and time as some of the missing 411 cases, they had also discovered that in the Bermuda Triangle, ships and planes had gone missing. Same date, same time.
Okay.
That tells us that what we're looking at isn't a cryptid creature of some kind. What we're looking at is a global scientific phenomenon of some kind, whereby I believe that these portals and doors are being opened by the passage of the Earth through space, which is what the Mach Effect is. Mass fluctuations create the Mach Effect, which are these tiny fluctuations in mass that occur as a body travels through space. And those fluctuations actually can be used as a propulsion system. One of the principles of that occurrence is the production of benign wormholes. And that would explain why in some of the cases, the children have been discovered alive in the missing 411 cases, but they're 3 mountain ranges away from where they went missing.
So there you go. There's the Mach Effect, which it's a good theory. Just random wormholes or portals, and that's why people can go missing so quickly. Like this, the one I read about Tina Lucas, who was 4 years old, and not only did she go missing, but also her dogs, who she was playing with out front. With her mother, not but a few feet away, inside the kitchen window, and she went missing within seconds.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's got to be wormholes or
Portal, something.
some form of abduction, or maybe it's I don't know, something messing with our reality. Maybe they weren't disappeared at all, but something tricked our brain into thinking they were disappeared. Who knows?
I mean, all that's a possibility. What you're talking was like some kind of holographic projection at that point.
Yeah, just completely. Yes.
But so I'm trying to find something that is a little bit more tangible on a subject that it's tough to grasp.
Yes.
And as I was finishing up the
Invisible cloaks.
Invisible cloaks.
Yes, totally. I'm thinking like, Harry Potter, or that new military stuff. They get the camouflage. Just all of a sudden you can see right through, and you don't even know what's going on the other side.
Well, okay. Actually, I think that's a little bit more
That's
believable.
pretty far out. I'm going way out there.
I know. I'm actually I'll stick with that. Like, hold on to that one, because
Okay.
I kind of like that one. That you said military cloak, a military
Like a
Harry
military,
Potter
that it's linked to some military stuff, right?
what the cloak of invisibility?
No, well, that plus people missing in certain areas.
Possibly, according to some of my wild theories. I like to think so, but they have military bases everywhere. There's some kind of military facility everywhere.
Every town's got one.
Until there is a database produced where it is easily searchable and you can run some kind of predictive analytics on this thing. It's tough to know.
Speaking of databases, like I think, I remember from you guys talking to everybody, on this topic about these national parks and stuff, and it's really tough to get the actual numbers of missing people.
That's what Paulides is claiming. Like he's having a very tough time getting the actual numbers from the national parks, and he said it over and over again. Or if they do exist, it would cost him a shit ton of money to actually get those numbers. So
it's like a FOIA or whatever.
Yeah, I mean they'll charge them legal processing fees in order to get all the information, and all the, they got the Excel spreadsheet. They know that you got it. All they have to do is email it to them.
Right. You just got to word it right.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So in the Hunt for Skinwalker, this book, there are anomalies throughout this book of cattle going missing just out of the blue. Not unlike what happened to that girl I just read about. Is that the ranch hand was looking at his herd, goes away for 5 minutes, comes back, and he finds one of his cattle with broken legs, as if it was picked up and dropped. And that ranch hand would go and try to get a vet, come back and find the rest of the legs broken. So there's